I'm 27 years old. I've no money and no prospects. I'm already a burden to my parents. And I'm frightened.
What a good intro that is. What's up, everyone? Welcome to another one. Celia, you gotta stay awake. Come on. You're apparently not a Pride and Prejudice fan. And you have to stay awake for the Pride and Prejudice so that you can like it. Because this is really entertaining so far. What's up, everyone? Let me set up my windows, make sure they're all good. What's going on, everyone? Hello. Hold on, give me a sec. Hello, guys. What's up? How are you? Any guys in the chat? Or are we just a bunch of girls here? Just us girls. It's just us girls here. 33 years old. I have no money, no prospects. I'm already a burden to my parents, and I'm frightened. That's such a good line. I gotta come up with a bunch of other lines. Nemo. I don't want to watch the movies yet because I forgot most of what happens in Pride and Prejudice. So I don't want to have my mind refreshed. I just kind of want to come into this like fresh and new. But I do think it'd be kind of fun to have more good clips. Okay, I was trying to think of this. You guys are Pride and Prejudice people, so you guys might know this. I watched the BBC edition of Pride and Prejudice. Had to be 15 years ago now. Close to 15 years ago. Maybe 10 to 15 years ago. Yeah, like 15 years ago. And there is one line that me and my friends used to quote to each other. It was, "Is Collins the priest? Mr. Collins? What's the actor's name?" Okay, Mr. Collins is a priest. He has a line in the thing where he's running, and I think he's talking about the one lady person that he loves or like that he's obsessed with, and he's running to certain characters and he says like, "She's hot on her heels" or something like that. He says some line like that, and I'm trying to find it and I cannot find out what it is because I forgot what the line is. Lady Catherine de Bourgh, Tom Hollander in the 2005. Anybody know what I'm talking about? Any of you guys like real big experts there? He has this moment where he's like running toward him, and his run was hilarious. We used to make fun of his run, but I don't remember exactly what he said. You just watched the scene. I'm thinking, what does he say exactly, Nandela? You have to tell me because I'm really curious. Yeah, I kind of remember it too. I remember it being like midway through it, but I just don't remember what they said. He's talking about Darcy and Colonel Fitzwilliams. Okay. What does he say? It's such a funny scene. I want to know what that scene is. Yeah. Come quick. Make haste. Yeah. It's something like that. We got to watch that. As soon as I finish Pride and Prejudice, we'll do like a watch of all of them and then Discord or something like that. My mom just sent me a bunch of good Jane Austen stuff. That was like BBC Jane Austen stuff. She sent one that was one of Jane Austen's sister, I think. I forgot her name, Charlotte something maybe. And it's like Jane's life through her sister's eyes or something. I gotta look that up again, but anyway, welcome to the stream. We're gonna do chapters 5. Yeah, Cassandra. Yeah, thank you, Cassandra. There's like a BBC of like, the story through Cassandra's eyes or something. Seems interesting. Ooh, these are longer chapters actually. Potentially we might only get through we'll try to do 10. But I could always just readjust the titles if I need to. Yeah, there's a lot. These chapters are a little bit longer. It's like 30 pages of reading, which if you know me would probably take us 5 hours. So we'll just read however long we feel, and then we'll call it a night. Becoming Jane. Anne Hathaway plays Jane Austen. Interesting. William Shakespeare married someone named Anne Hathaway, and Anne Hathaway's husband looks a lot like William Shakespeare, apparently. So there's a lot of conspiracy theories about that. That she's married a time traveler. All right. You're a BBC purist. The BBC series is the best. Cassandra Morganson. That's a cool name. Yeah, she's one of the immortals for sure. She's living forever. I don't know how, but she's living forever somehow. All right, I am bumping this up. Hey, we got 23 people watching. Love that. Welcome, welcome. Everyone like the stream too, just, you know, so I don't have to keep pestering everyone about it. There's more versions to watch that were made for earlier. Yeah. The BBC, the other BBC one was the second best. Way better than the movie. I like the movie. I like the cinematography of the movie. And I also liked the look of the characters. Although that's probably going to be contentious because I think the look of the movie one isn't how they would look in like the Victorian era or whatever era this is. I've heard Bride and Prejudice. I've heard that one's good too. Yeah, the Bollywood version. Some people were talking about it in the Discord today. I'm curious. I'm interested. Regency England. Yeah. The Regency period, not Victorian. Regency. What's the difference between Victorian and Regency? Victorian is Queen Victoria. Regency is Queen Regent. I don't know. What is the difference? Definitely check out Bride and Prejudice. Regency is earlier. Okay. I need you guys to like help me update my knowledge of, you know, eras. Aishwarya Rai, good actress. Regency, is that 1790 to 1820 Victorian? Okay, love that. Perfect. Thank you. Carol, thank you so much. It's when George III was crazy, so his son took over as Prince Regent. Interesting. Love that. Okay. The British monarchy is confusing to me. But reading about the British aristocracy, so I'll look her up. I'll look up Bride and Prejudice too. I like that they renamed it Bride and Prejudice for like Bollywood. A lot of bees. Napoleon's going on here too. Interesting. Yeah, I gotta look up the surrounding history. I always get really interested in that whenever I read a book like this. I want to know everything surrounding it. She's aesthetically supreme. Nemo, for you to say that is shocking. Regency is early when King George IV was regent because George III was crazy. Interesting. I love that you guys know this stuff. You guys are going to help me out so much with my classics understanding. I love this. This is going to be so great. We're going to get through so many good classics. It's going to be so lovely. But welcome. In the channel, I don't have I've pre-scheduled a lot of you do have eyes. Good to know. I've pre-scheduled a bunch of videos until Monday, and all the videos that are coming out on this channel right now are just short little reflections on my read so far. Pretty much everything that I said in the live read, but like just video chunks. And after I do this live read tonight, I'm gonna just write a quick essay on what I was talking about before in the live read, and that's gonna be like the longer essay of. So I'll probably just do like quick recaps of like my thoughts and feelings on the books for like a video. I'm actually just doing a video a day now, which is pretty crazy. For the classics channel. And then I'm going to do like one written essay per day. Miss World 1994. Dang. Bonnets are back in style. Your mom just had to make a bunch for your new niece. That's so cute. I love that. So let's see if we can find anything good. Any good Temeraire? What's Temeraire? Huh. I don't even know the words that you guys are saying. Oh, hold on. This book is set during Napoleon's invasion of Russia. Honestly, would love a book written in the same style as this, but through that perspective too. That'd be interesting. I would love that. Oh, those are like my favorite kinds of books. I love them. Yeah, War and Peace. But I've heard War and Peace is boring. I love Anna Karenina. I need to reread Anna Karenina because I really don't remember that much about it. I just remember Kitty and Levin's relationship and how cute it was. But I want to reread that. We're gonna just do all the classics. We're gonna eventually get to everything. I don't know. We have our whole life ahead of us, so it's gonna be fun getting through all that kind of stuff. But I do want to do Anna Karenina. War and Peace. I'm a little hesitant about War and Peace, but we'll probably eventually get to it. War and Peace is thick and dense and has a lot of characters. Apparently, I haven't read it, but I'm a little intimidated to read War and Peace. We should like put it up for votes. I mean, right now it's majority Pride and Prejudice people here, so we'd probably just do all the work of Jane Austen. But I think we should just like after every book we'll put it up for a vote for what's the next book. But I definitely want to do the Count of Monte Cristo quick. That one might take like a few months because it's long. Definitely want to do Anna Karenina. That one take a few months, but because it's long. Definitely want to do all the rest of. I really want to do Jane Eyre. I don't know why, but I really want to do Jane Eyre. So maybe we'll jump into that. Maybe some Dickens. Maybe we'll get into Dickens next Christmas and do Christmas Carol or something. Yeah, Emma. I want to read Emma too. Yeah, this is fun too because like the books that you haven't read, you can just kind of pick up and like read along with us. I think it's gonna be really fun. Sometimes I think I need to know the original languages of those books too. Like, how much better is the Count of Monte Cristo in the original French than in the translation? Probably so much better. I want to know French, but you know. Jane Eyre is... You liked it, but it's very different from Austen. Interesting, okay. You liked it, you were surprised. Count of Monte Cristo is longer than all three Lord of the Rings put together. Interesting. Okay. It's good to know. We will probably block off a few months for that one then. Maybe we'll just do a season read. It depends on how long each book is, but like this is not a long book. I would like to finish this in a month. And then next month, we probably won't finish it by January, but maybe we'll get close. But then I would like to do like other books like that are around the same size and just do one a month. And then if we get to like a longer book, we'll do it maybe what's like a longer, maybe if we do like a Dickens, let's say we do like, I don't know what's like a longer Dickens. Here we go. Let's say we do Great Expectations. Maybe that'll take us 2 months. Count of Monte Cristo, maybe 4 months. Vanity Fair, maybe 3 months. You know, it'd be fun to do all those in just different month periods. But we'll figure that out when we get there. We got time. We got plenty of time, guys. If all the Austen books are about the same length, that makes me really happy because I feel like they're all like a month read. Just like sit back, enjoy, read it for a month. And are you guys rereading it as I'm reading it, or are you just like listening? I mean, it's probably a little different, but do I motivate you guys to reread? Or are you just like, no, I just want to enjoy first timers perspective. It's really fun so far. I like the book. But let's get to reading. Kind of reading along. I like it. I like that. All right. You've read the Pride and Prejudice the same amount of times as Harry Potter. That's crazy. Just read it a few months ago, so just listen and love that. Nice. Just found out today I'm doing this. Read it recently for book club. Love that. Just listening. Never going to read Pride and Prejudice again. June, what the heck? Come on. Did you really hate it that much? June, what did you hate about it? What did you hate about it? That's the real question. I think it's so funny. I think it's just like a fun book. At the moment, I don't know what Jane Austen's life was really like. To me, part of the joy that I have in reading this was it feels like Jane Austen is kind of making fun of the upper middle class, or just the upper class. Let's be honest, these guys are the upper class. She's making fun of the upper class, but like still telling a compelling story. I feel like it's really kind of fun for that. Like she's telling a story in like very, very well spoken English. But was Austen rich? I feel like she wasn't. Maybe she was. Same reason Ryan hates it. What is the reason Ryan hates it? Doesn't appreciate the humor? Hey, these people don't have titles. Interesting. Applies more than the upper class. Huh. Interesting. So they don't have titles. So they really are like upper middle class. Upper middle class. Yeah, upper class and humanity as a whole, honestly. So she wasn't rich. So I feel like she's just like sitting making fun of people, which is kind of fun. Like, I kind of love that. But without further ado, let's get to reading, because I'm actually really curious to see what keeps going on, what's happening in this story. So, as always, like the stream and follow along in your books, or just listen to the sultry sounds of my voice, which I'm not a good reader. I gotta learn how to be a good reader. And I'm gonna read chapter 5 and just take lots of notes and talk about all my experiences I'm reading. So you remember the same social class culturally, but it wasn't based on money. Interesting. You want it to be more romantic. Interesting. Okay. What's your favorite romantic book then? You know what? I thought Anna Karenina was an unbelievably romantic book. There was one chapter in there that I was like blown away by. I got to reread that. I really am excited to reread that. Jane Austen paid out of her pockets to publish Sense and Sensibility. Oh my gosh. Was that her? That wasn't her first, right? Wealthy enough to have a cook, not wealthy enough to have tenants. Interesting. So, kind of rich, but not rich. Her brother was adopted by rich relations like Frank Churchill. Interesting. Sense and Sensibility was her first published book. I'm excited to get through all of her stuff, because there's not like, she doesn't have like a huge canon. She's like written a good amount that I can just sit back and enjoy. But I'm gonna get to reading. All right, you guys keep it up in the chat. I'll catch up and anytime I look up. But this is chapter 5 of Pride and Prejudice. Let me get a quick drink. Yeah, it's a bummer. It's only 6. Sometimes it's nice that an author has only written like a certain amount, but if you really love that author, you're like, oh, that stinks. I wish she wrote more. Chapter 5. Within a short walk of Longbourn lived a family with whom the Bennets were particularly intimate. Sir William Lucas had been formerly in trade with Meryton, where he had made a tolerable fortune. Like, even that to me is so funny. What a good phrase. I made a tolerable fortune. Oh, bummer. Lucas says, now you know why Mrs. Bennet doesn't like them. I don't know why yet. Oh, they're just intimate with family who's Within the short walk of Longbourn lived a family whom the Bennets were particularly intimate. Sir William Lucas had been formerly in trade in Meryton, where he had made a tolerable fortune and risen to honor of knighthood by an address to the king during his mayoralty. So she's just jealous. How young was she when she died? Oh, she only lived to be 41. I see that now. What'd she die of? Probably like typhus or something weird. Georgette Heyer. I've never even heard of her. All right, let's keep reading. The distinction had perhaps been felt too strongly. It had given him a disgust to his business and to his residence in a small market town. And quitting them both, he had removed with his family to a house about a mile from Meryton, denominated from that period Lucas Lodge, where he could think with pleasure of his own importance and unshackled by business, occupy himself solely in being civil to all the world. For though elated by his rank, it did not render him supercilious. On the contrary, he was all attention to everyone. By nature, inoffensible, friendly and obliging. His presentation at St. James had made him courteous. Lady Lucas was a very good kind of a woman. Not too clever to be a valuable neighbor to Mrs. Bennet. They had several children. The eldest of them, a sensible, intelligent young woman about 27, was Elizabeth's intimate friend. Oh, is this... I'm 27 and I'm scared. Is this... Oh, Charlotte Lucas. There we go. Hold on one second. Hold on, give me a second. I want to reread this paragraph because I feel like there's a lot of interesting stuff in there. Let me reread this little chapter, or this section so far. Within a short walk of Longbourn lived a family with whom the Bennets were particularly intimate. Sir William Lucas had been formerly in trade at Meryton, where he had made a tolerable fortune, and had risen to the honor of knighthood by an address to the king during his mayoralty. So Sir William Lucas was the mayor of this town, and he was knighted because of it. The distinction had perhaps been felt too strongly. It had given him a disgust to his business and to his residence in a small market town. And quitting them both, he had removed with his family to a house about a mile from Meryton, denominated from that period Lucas Lodge, where he could think with pleasure of his own importance, and unshackled by business, occupy himself solely in being civil to all the world. So he's just a politician. For though elated by his rank, it did not render him supercilious. On the contrary, he was all attention to everybody. By nature inoffensive, friendly and obliging, his presentation at St. James had made him courteous. Lady Lucas was a very good kind of woman, not too clever to be a valuable neighbor to Mrs. Bennet. They had several children. That line is interesting. She's not too clever to be a valuable neighbor to Mrs. Bennet. Huh. That line is throwing me off a little bit. Because I feel like for Mrs. Bennet, she wouldn't be able to recognize someone who's super clever. Because like Mrs. Bennet isn't smart enough to realize who's like super smart and who's not. They just seem like they're too just like... she's not too clever, so that makes her a good neighbor. That helps. Okay, that's actually a great one. If Lady Lucas were smarter, she would either not get along with Mrs. Bennet, or Mrs. Bennet couldn't understand what she said. So she's like right in the the hot zone. Love that. Okay, that's a good way of putting it. They had several children. The eldest of them, a sensible, intelligent young woman about 27, was Elizabeth's intimate friend. That the Miss Lucases and the Miss Bennets should meet to talk over a ball was absolutely necessary. And the morning after the assembly brought the former to Longbourn to hear and to communicate. You began the evening well, Charlotte, said Mrs. Bennet with civility, civil self-command to Miss Lucas. You were Mr. Bingley's first choice. I got to do my Mrs. Bennet voice. Yes, but he seemed to like his second better. Oh, you mean Jane, I suppose. Because he danced with her twice. To be sure, that did seem as if he admired her. Indeed, I rather believe he did. I heard something about it, But I hardly know what. That's too annoying. Something about Mr. Robinson. Oh, you mean Jane, I suppose. It's like she's like, oh, you mean Jane, I suppose. Because he danced with her twice. Oh, to be sure, that did seem as if he admired her. Indeed, I'd rather believe he did. I heard something about it, but I hardly know what. Something about Mr. Robinson. Who's Mr. Robinson? She's Mrs. Bennet is starting to get on my nerves. Perhaps you mean what I overheard between him and Mr. Robinson. Did I not mention it to you? Mr. Robinson's asking him how he liked our merchant assemblies, and whether he did not think there was a great many pretty women in the room, and which he thought the prettiest. And his answering immediately to the last question, oh, the eldest Miss Bennet, beyond a doubt. There cannot be two opinions on that. Who's Mr. Robinson again? Do I like know that? Yeah, Mrs. Bennet is for sure fishing for the gossip, but it almost feels like she already knows that too, to be honest. It's like I feel like she's like she's like waiting for a compliment. Mr. Robinson, a very minor character. Random guy. Okay. Just a background person. All right, good to know. Mr. Robinson's asking you how he liked. Upon my word. Well, that was very decided indeed. That does seem as if, but, however, it may all come to nothing, you know. My overhearings were more to the purpose than yours, Eliza, said Charlotte. Mr. Darcy is not so well worth listening to as his friend, is he? Poor Eliza. To be only just tolerable. I like that they're teasing each other. Huh. I like that she calls her Eliza, too. That's kind of cute. I like the nicknames that people give each other in this. I beg you would not put it into Lizzie's head to be vexed by his ill treatment. For he is such a disagreeable man that it would be quite a misfortune to be liked by him. Mrs. Long told me last night that he sat close to her for half an hour without once opening his lips. Give the guy a break. I was talking about this, so I made a video about this. When I reread the section with Darcy in their first meeting, and I think more of him. I think I was way too harsh on him for the first meeting. I think I was being convinced by everyone else's opinions on him, when in reality, just what it says about him flat off is not all that bad. Like, he's actually being kind to his friend. And he's essentially like, I'm not fit to date I'm not fit to dance in the state that I'm in, which I don't know what state he's in. I don't know what he's been through. But the only issue that I have is, like, he says, like, you know, there's no one handsome enough to dance with, but maybe he's just depressed. This is B's establishing Jane's superiority and making sure Charlotte knows she cannot be a rival. Yeah. That's actually a great point. It's like, it's very insidious. It's very, like, mean-spirited. You hate Darcy. Yeah, she sat next to an introvert for sure. This is what the thing that drives me crazy about this book right now is everything is being told through the perspective of extroverts. They just don't understand us introverts. They just don't understand that sometimes at a party, we just want to sit and not talk to anybody. We've just been doing a lot of talking. And I just sit down, and sometimes it doesn't matter who's next to me. I just want to sit and just chill. Are you quite sure, ma'am? Is there not a little mistake? Said Jane. I certainly saw Mr. Darcy speaking to her. Aye, because she asked him at last how he liked Netherfield, and he could not help answering her. But she said he seemed very angry at being spoken to. It's all just my gossip. Miss Bingley told me, said Jane, that he never speaks much unless among his intimate acquaintances. With them, he is remarkably agreeable. See, this is what I love, because prior in this, like the balancing act for this is the person who is at the moment painted as the most naive. Because everyone else immediately hates Darcy and they think he's terrible. And then there's the character of Jane who doesn't think bad of anybody. And she's the only one here that's balancing out the Darcy opinion. And she's probably the one that's right. She's like the only one that's like speaking the truth, is actually said to be the most naive, which is interesting. One second. I'm going to write that down. Innocent. Everything else is based off what other people say, and Jane is basing what she's saying based off of what someone else says, but that seems to be true. Like, it all kind of seems to be true. I don't know. We'll see. Look at this image. Look how long her neck is. It's great. I do not believe a word of it, my dear. If he had been so very agreeable, he would have talked to Mrs. Long. But I can guess how it was. Everybody says that he is ate up with pride. And I dare say that he heard somehow that Mrs. Long does not keep a carriage, and had come to the ball in a hack chaise. I do not mind that he is talking to Miss Long, said Miss Lucas, but I wish he had danced with Eliza. Another time, Lizzie, said her mother. I would not have danced with him if I were you. I believe it, ma'am. I may safely promise you never to dance with him. His pride, said Miss Lucas, does not offend me so much as pride often does. But there is an excuse for it. One cannot wonder that so very fine a young man with family, fortune, everything in his favor, should think highly of himself. If I may so express it, he has a right to be proud. That is very true, replied Elizabeth. And I could easily forgive his pride if he had not mortified mine. Pride, observed Mary, who piqued herself upon the solidarity of reflections. Wes, what are you doing, bud? Dog's digging in the carpet over there. She does have the petunia neck. Tolkien Rants, what's up? Welcome, welcome. Jane is too sweet, but I kind of love Jane. Jane might be my low-key favorite character right now. Pride, observed Mary, who piqued herself upon the solidarity of reflection, is a very common failing, I believe. By all that I have ever read, I am convinced that it is very common indeed, that human nature is particularly prone to it. Everyone in the room is rolling their eyes. They're like, shut up, Mary. And that there are very few of us who do not cherish a feeling of self-complacency on the score of some quality or other, real or imaginary. Vanity and pride are different things, though the words are often used synonymously. And the person may be proud without being vain. Pride relates more to our opinions of ourselves. Vanity to what we would have others think of us. That is so annoying, but she is the only voice of reason. Actually, I mean, Jane is a voice of reason here too, but that is the truth of the matter here, which is so funny. The one character who's so boring and everyone rolls their eyes and like, shut up, you are so annoying. She's like enamored with her own wisdom, is actually spouting some facts. Being correct is being pretentious. She's kind of right. She is kind of right here. But it's the manner with which she says it, and Mary for sure says it with an air that she's smarter than everyone else in the room. Because she piques herself upon the solidarity of her reflections. She thinks that she's wise. Don't be wise in your own eyes. If I were as rich as Darcy, cried young Lucas, who came with his sisters, I should not care how proud I was. I would keep a pack of foxhounds and drink a bottle of wine every day. Then you would drink a great deal more than you ought, said Mrs. Bennet. And if I were to see you at it, I should take away your bottle directly. The boy protested that she should not. She continued to declare that she would. And the argument ended only with the visit. It's so dumb. I feel like it's a good thing to be Jane. I feel like Jane's one of the best characters here. I kind of love Jane. Like, he can't be that little of a boy, right? Because unless there's big age gaps between her, because Charlotte is 27. So I'd guess that he's probably like a teenager, maybe? I don't know. How many of the Charlottes are there? Or how many of the Lucases are there? How many children? He's 8 years old? Okay, if she's getting in a fight with an 8-year-old, that's all you need to know about Miss Bennet. She's getting in fights with 8-year-olds over here. Jane is one of my favorites because I love someone who thinks the best of people and like doesn't just trash on people. Like she just thinks positively of things and just like has a very positive, happy outlook on life. I think that's great. All right, chapter 6. Already interesting stuff to talk about here. The funny thing about this is the two people who speak the truth, Mary Jane. But it's interesting too in that immediately they are discounted. One is seen as annoying and too wise, and the other is seen as too innocent. And so neither of their opinions really matter that much to anybody else in this story. But really they're the two most valid opinions. Sometimes you wake up and resolve to be like Jane, and the resolve never lasts. I love her. I think she's great. I also am a natural critic in my head, so I don't think I could ever live like Jane. But I do love like just a good nothing gets you down positive attitude. Not like a Mr. Bingley attitude. Like they are kind of perfect for each other. I couldn't deal with Mr. Bingley, like super positivity all the time. Jane just seems innocent and sweet. I kind of like her. Chapter 6. You've always felt sorry for Mary. I love that. I'm a little socially awkward too. So I feel like she's just trying to fit in. She's just trying to get like a cool word into the conversation, but she just like doesn't know how to do it perfectly. It's kind of cute. Youngest sibling is 16 years younger. I feel like there's probably a lot of Lucas children, right? Because Charlotte's the oldest. Samwise and Jane would get along? No way. Sam from Lord of the Rings? Jane would get along well with Pippin, maybe. Or even like Gimli. Oh, Jane and Gimli? Dang. I think Sam's a bit too grumpy. Sam would serve her very well. All right, let's read chapter 6. The ladies of Longbourn soon waited on those of Netherfield. Okay, so the ladies of Longbourn, Netherfield is the Bennets. Longfield is the Lucases. I need to write a map of all this in my head. Longbourn, Lucases. That's easy. LL, Netherfield, Bennets. Is this the other way around? Wait, Longbourn? Netherfield is the Bingleys. Okay, gosh. Where do the Bennets live? Wait, Longbourn is the Bennets. Where do the Lucases live? Lucas Lodge is the Lucases. Okay, here we go. I got to write all this down, but I'll get it. I'll eventually get it. Longbourn is the Bennets. Okay, Longbourn is the Bennets. So the ladies of Longbourn soon waited on those of Netherfield, of the Bingleys. The visit was returned in due form. Miss Bennet's pleasing manners... Hold on, there's a car alarm going off right now. Anybody hear that? That's annoying. Hold on, give me a second. It's really annoying. Okay, so Longbourn, the Bennets, Lucas Lodge. I like that little Lucas Lodge. The Lucases, Netherfield, Bingleys. Darcy Pemberley. I don't know why I know Pemberley. Okay. The visit was returned in due form. Miss Bennet's pleasing manners grew on the goodwill of Mrs. Hurst and Miss Bingley. And Mrs. Hurst is Bingley's sister, right? Yeah. The goodwill of Miss Hurst and Miss Bingley. And though the mother was found to be intolerable and the younger sisters not worth speaking to, a wish of being better acquainted with them was expressed toward the two eldest. This is so funny. They come to visit everyone and they're like, the younger ones are annoying. Their mother is intolerable. Their mother is awful. So the mother was found to be intolerable. And the younger sister is not worth speaking to. Ouch. A wish of being better acquainted with them was expressed toward the two eldest. By Jane, this attention was received with the greatest pleasure. But Elizabeth still saw superciliousness in their treatment of everybody. Aw, that's cute. I like that. Hold on. My chair's knocking up against my table over here. I like that. Elizabeth, like Jane is just innocent and happy-go-lucky, naive, and she's just like a little happy golden retriever. Elizabeth's like, no, what's wrong with my family? I like that. Elizabeth saw a superciliousness in their treatment of everybody hardly excepting even her sister, and could not like them. Though their kindness to Jane, such as it was, had a value as arising in all probability from the influence of their brother's admiration. It was generally evident whenever they met that he did admire her. And to her, it was equally evident that Jane was yielding to the preference which she had begun to entertain for him from the first. What a great sentence. It was generally evident whenever they met that he did admire her. And to her, it was equally evident that Jane was yielding to the preference which she had begun to entertain for him from the first, and was in a way to be very much in love. But she considered with pleasure that it was not likely to be discovered by the world in general, since Jane united with the great strength of feeling, a composure of temper, and uniform cheerfulness of manner, which would guard her from the suspicions of the impertinent. She mentioned this to her friend, Miss Lucas. So this is a great sentence about her. I love this. Is like such a funny commentary to me about all the sentence is really saying is like Jane is starting to really fall in love with Bingley, and Bingley, like, they have a crush on each other. That's all that it's saying. But she wraps it in everything else and all this other language about the dangers of having a crush, about what everything else that they're thinking about, which makes it like the crush seem like it's like almost being choked out. It's just a long way to say that she has a crush. I love that. That's a really long sentence. It was generally evident whenever they met that he did admire her, and to her it was equally evident that Jane was yielding to the preference which she had begun to entertain for him from the first, and was in a way to be very much in love. But she considered with pleasure that it was not likely to be discovered by the world in general, since Jane united with a great strength of feeling, a composure of temper, and uniform cheerfulness of manner, which would guard her from the suspicions of the impertinent. She mentioned this to her friend Miss Lucas. Barely, only because their brother likes her. Yeah, for sure. Jane not showing her feelings to the world in general. Interesting. So they like Jane, but they don't like her enough that they think that she's good enough for the brother. Yeah, since Jane united with a great strength of feeling, a composure of temper, and uniform cheerfulness of manner, which would guard her from the suspicions of the impertinent. Likes them and doesn't see through their meanness. Yeah. They seem like mean girls for sure. People in this book are so mean. Oh boy, here we go. It may perhaps be pleasant, replied Charlotte, to be able to impose on the public in such a case. But it is sometimes a disadvantage to be so very guarded. If a woman conceals her affection with the same skill from the object of it, she may lose the opportunity of fixing him. And it will then be but poor consolation to believe the world equally in the dark. There is so much of gratitude or vanity in almost every attachment that it is not safe to leave any to itself. We can all begin freely. A slight preference is natural enough, but there are very few of us who have a heart enough to be really in love without encouragement. Dang! Why is Charlotte so good? Why is she so wise? In 9 cases out of 10, a woman had better show more affection than she feels. Bingley likes your sister undoubtedly, but he may never do more than like her if she does not help him on. Wow. All right, we got some more sirens going down the street. What the heck is going on? You guys hear that? Yeah, new meaning for I can fix him, for sure. That was going on in my head too. Yeah, make your intentions clear. I feel like I'm gonna dissect this. This is such a great section of writing. I know, it feels like, GTA in my street. I don't know what's going on. I live in a somewhat quiet street. Not crazy quiet, but... Charlotte is great. Yeah, this is why Lizzie likes Charlotte. It just seems like she's wise. Like, it seems like she's legitimately wise. Let's keep reading. But she does help him on, as much as her nature will allow. If I can perceive her regard for him, he must be a simpleton indeed, not to discover it too. Remember, Eliza, that he does not know Jane's disposition as you do. But if a woman is partial to a man and does not endeavor to conceal it, he must find it out. Perhaps he must, if he sees enough of her. But though Bingley and Jane meet tolerably often, it is never for many hours together. And as they always see each other in large mixed parties, it is impossible that every moment should be employed in conversing together. Jane should therefore make the most of every half hour in which she can command his attention. When she is secure of him, there will be leisure for falling in love as much as she chooses. Dang! She's like, secure the bag and then they can fall in love together. Interesting. This is so interesting. I really love Charlotte. Charlotte is probably my favorite character right now. I'm going to switch favorite characters every 5 seconds. So you guys got to get ready for it. Carol, enjoy Christmas shopping. When you come back, hopefully you enjoy the rest when you come back. Yeah, live action GTA, live action roleplay. Nemo, you like Charlotte? She's her favorite? Honestly, she's a great character right now. Charles the Wise. She's fantastic. It also, I don't remember much of the movie or the BBC adaptation, but I think that she marries Collins, and this is probably the reason for it. Not really for love, she's just securing something and hoping that she falls in love after. She probably is a believer that the feelings can come after. She can kind of fall in love with someone after. But I don't know, we'll see. All right, let's keep reading. Your plan is a good one, replied Elizabeth, where nothing is in question but the desire of being well married. And if I were determined to get a rich husband or any household, I dare say I should adopt it. But these are not Jane's feelings. She is not acting by design. And yet she cannot even be certain of the degree of her own regard, nor of its reasonableness. She has known him only a fortnight. She danced 4 dances with him at Meryton. She saw him one morning at his own house, and has since dined in company with him 4 times. That is not quite enough to make her understand his character. Not as you represent it. Had she merely dined with him, she might only have discovered whether he had a good appetite. But you must remember that 4 evenings have also been spent together, and 4 evenings may do a great deal. Yes, these 4 evenings have enabled them to ascertain that they both like vint un better than commerce. There's an endnote. Also known as Pontoon, a card game whose object is to acquire a hand totaling close to but not more than 21. Commerce is defined by the OED as a game in which barter is the chief feature. So it's just one card game over another. They're just card games. Interesting. Which Lizzie's right. In these short conversations, they probably just get through really surfacey stuff. Yet these 4 evenings have enabled them to ascertain that they both like Vinton better than commerce. But with respect to any other leading characteristics, I do not imagine that much has been unfolded. Well, said Charlotte, I wish Jane success with all my heart. And if she were married to him tomorrow, I should think she had as good a chance of happiness as if she were to be studying his character for 12 months. Happiness in marriage is entirely a matter of chance. I thought that was going to say choice. Chance. It's a little depressing. If the dispositions of the parties are ever so well known to each other or ever so similar beforehand, it does not advance their felicity in the least. they always continue to grow sufficiently, and like afterward, to have their share of vexation. And it is better to know as little as possible of the defects of the person with whom you are to pass your life. That is so sad, but kind of true. I don't know if that's true. Yikes. Happiness in a marriage is entirely a matter of chance. If the dispositions of the parties are ever so well known to each other, or ever so similar beforehand, it does not advance their felicity in the least. They always continue to grow sufficiently, unlike afterwards, to have their share of vexation. And it is better to know as little as possible of the defects of the person with whom you are to pass your life. Dang, that is really, yeah, that's really cynical. A little jaded. I like that. Man. Levine, enjoy reading Lord of the Rings to your kids. That sounds lovely. Have a good night. Interesting. You don't really like Charlotte? Charlotte just got bumped down a little bit on my radar for that. I mean, I'm not really like an idealist. I'm like very pragmatic, but that is like almost too pragmatic. I don't know. Better to have no expectations than do the whole man hopes woman never changes versus woman hopes she can change the man. It's valid. Yeah, I think she's taking that stance for sure. And it's very true to like normal life. I'm kind of with you on that. But she is older than the rest of them. Yeah, she probably observed a lot more from the Bennett's marriage from being friends with Lizzie. Honestly, she's probably seen, I mean, like the difference between like a 20, what is Lizzie 20 or 22? I think she's 20. And Charlotte's 27. There's a huge difference between those two ages. So she's not wrong, but she's also just jaded. You know what I mean? Marriage is like a game of Russian roulette. Legitimately, that's what she's saying. Which is really sad. But there's some truth to it. You make me laugh, Charlotte, but it is not sound. You know it is not sound. And that you would never act in this way yourself. That feels a little like foreshadowing. Occupied in observing Mr. Bingley's attention to her sister, Elizabeth was far from suspecting that she was herself becoming an object of some interest in the eyes of his friend. Woo! Mr. Darcy had scarcely... that's a great sentence, too. Occupied in observing Mr. Bingley's attention to her sister, Elizabeth was far from suspecting that she was herself becoming an object of some interest in the eyes of his friend. I like it. It's just like brewing beneath the surface right here. Nemo. She is very practical, yeah. Yeah, it'd be tough to spend a lot of time with her, for sure, with Charlotte. She's like a little bit of a Debbie Downer, but also not. She's like maybe not quite so much as of a Debbie Downer now. She's on the path of being a Debbie Downer. She does have a lot of wisdom, though, still. She's like right in that sweet spot, I think. She's maybe a little too jaded, but I don't know. Mr. Darcy had at first scarcely allowed her to be pretty. Oh! Now that's an interesting sentence. Scarcely allowed her to be pretty. I love the way that Austen writes. I feel like it's so layered. It is literally Grand Theft Auto right now. There's just sirens going everywhere around my house. He had looked at her without admiration at the ball. And when they met next, he looked at her only to criticize. He's like trying to convince himself that he doesn't like her. Allowed as a synonym for, okay, acknowledged. I had scarcely acknowledged her to be pretty. Interesting. Okay. All right. Yeah, he is for sure in denial. He's like, I love her. Or I think inwardly he really does like her. But the next time he's looking at her is to criticize her, he's trying to find ways that he doesn't. But no sooner had he made it clear to himself and his friend that she had hardly a good feature in her face than he began to find it was rendered uncommonly intelligent by the beautiful expression of her dark eyes. Dang, he's down bad. To this discovery succeeded some others equally mortifying. Though he had detected with a critical eye more than one failure of perfect symmetry in her form, he was forced to acknowledge her figure to be light and pleasing, and in spite of his asserting that her manners were not those of the fashionable world, he was caught by their easy playfulness. Of this she was perfectly unaware. To her, he was the only man who had made himself agreeable nowhere, and who had not thought her handsome enough to dance with. He began to wish to know more of her, and as a step towards conversing with her, attended to her conversation with others. His doing so drew her notice. It was at Sir William Lucas's, where a large party were assembled. Now, this is funny because, like, nowhere, and who had not thought her handsome enough to dance, though he detected. This is really interesting because it's like he's really fully trying to convince himself that he doesn't like her. To this discovery succeeded some others equally mortifying. Like he's like fallen. Though he had detected with a critical eye more than one failure of perfect symmetry in her form, he was forced to acknowledge her figure to be light and pleasing. And in spite of his asserting, she's describing what someone who's introverted who likes being by themselves experiences when they experience a crush. Which isn't a lot of people in the world, but he's like, you try to talk yourself out of it because you're like, I'm just so comfortable being on my own, but why do I have feelings for this person? I kind of resonate with Darcy a little bit. Introvert who likes being alone, convincing himself that he doesn't have a crush. What does Mr. Darcy mean? She said to Charlotte by listening to my conversation with Colonel Forster. That is a question which Mr. Darcy only can answer. But if he does it for any more, I shall certainly let him know that I see what he is about. He has a very satirical eye. And if I do not begin by being impertinent myself, I shall soon grow afraid of him. This in my head is so funny because it's like Darcy is so socially awkward. Like, I could imagine him at the moment, like they're having a conversation, like Lizzie's having a conversation with what's his name, Colonel Forster right now, and they're just chatting with each other, and all of a sudden Darcy just comes like swooning over, like reeling, like being like, and just jumping into their conversation, just listening, and she's like, I don't want to talk to you, you're like a jerk. But he's like, all he wants to do, his heart's racing, he's like, I just want to be around her and talk to her, and he just has a big crush, but she just doesn't let it happen. But he's just socially awkward. He doesn't know how to really approach her or like talk about it, talk to her. Yeah, he's awkward. The only crush you've ever had has been like, what? No, really? I love that. They can't actually talk to each other, so they have to be introduced first. I don't think I'm being that soft on him. I do like I'm going to talk about this. I'm going to write an essay after I do the live read tonight about My first impression of him initially was like I hated him, and then I'm starting to like him more and more as the pages go on, because I just think he's a little awkward and he's just had like a bad day or so. You know? Like he's just an introverted guy who just likes being on his own. Like he wants to have a friend, but it's just like content. And now he has a crush on a woman and it could ruin all that. But he's kind of happy about it. On his approaching them soon afterwards, though without seeming to have any intention of speaking, Miss Lucas defied her friend to mention such a subject to him, which immediately provoking Elizabeth to do it, she turned to him and said, "Do not you think, Mr. Darcy, that I expressed myself uncommonly well just now when I was teasing Colonel Forster to give us a ball at Merton?" With great energy. But it is a subject which always makes a lady energetic. You are severe on us. It will be her turn soon to be teased, said Miss Lucas. I am going to open the instrument, Eliza, and you know what follows. You are a very strange creature by way of a friend. I'm going to start talking to my friends like that. You're a very strange creature by way of a friend. Always wanting me to play and sing before anybody and everybody. If my vanity had taken a musical turn, you would have had been invaluable. But as it is, I would really rather not sit down before those who must be in the habit of hearing the very best performers. On Miss Lucas's persevering, however, she added, "Very well. If it must be so, it must." And gravely glancing at Mr. Darcy, there was a final saying which everybody here is, of course, familiar with. Keep your breath to cool your porridge, and I shall keep mine to swell my song. Keep your breath cool? Keep your breath to cool your porridge, and I shall keep mine to swell my song. What does that saying mean? Keep your breath to cool your porridge. What would that mean? Like, don't talk too much? If Denethor can be good to some, Darcy can be fully good in your book. Yeah, just not talk too much. Let's both shut up now. I love that. Yeah, save your breath. Save your breath is a perfect one of that. Just save your breath. Okay, I love that. I like that she amends it here too. Mary had neither genius. Hold on. I skipped a paragraph. Her performance was pleasing, though by no means capital. After a song or two, and before she could reply to the entreaties of several that she would sing again, she was eagerly succeeded at the instrument by her sister Mary, who, having in consequence of being the only plain one in the family, worked hard for knowledge and accomplishments, was always impatient for display. Poor Mary, but she needs to learn some social cues. Mary had neither genius nor taste, and though vanity had given her application, it had given her likewise a pedantic air and conceited manner, which would have injured a higher degree of excellence than she had reached. Elizabeth, easy and unaffected, had been listening to with much more pleasure, though not playing half so well. And Mary, at the end of a long concerto, was glad to purchase praise and gratitude by Scotch and Irish airs, at the request of her younger sister, who, with some of the Lucases and 2 or 3 officers, joined eagerly in dancing at one end of the room. Mary, come on, take a cue. Mr. Darcy stood near them in silent indignation at such a mode of passing the evening, to the exclusion of all conversation, and was too much engrossed by his own thoughts to perceive that Sir William Lucas was his neighbor, till Sir William thus began. What a charming amusement for young people this is, Mr. Darcy. There is nothing like dancing, after all. I consider it as one of the first refinements of polished societies. Okay, I don't know what Darcy's response is going to be, but if I am Darcy in my head going right now, I'm going, no, it's not. I don't like dancing. I'm sick of dancing. I'm sick of people dancing around everything. I just want to listen to good music. Someone's playing a good tune on a piano. Why can't we just sit and listen? I'm thinking about other things. Let's see what he says. Certainly, sir. And it has the advantage also of being in vogue amongst less polished societies of the world. Every savage can dance. Sir William only smiled. Your friend performs delightfully, he continued after a pause on seeing Bingley join the group. And I doubt not that you are an adept in this science yourself, Mr. Darcy. You saw me dance at Meryton, I believe, sir. Yes, indeed. And received no inconsiderable pleasures from the sight. Do you dance often at St. James? Never, sir. He's being very polite. He's never, sir. Every savage can dance. It's a great line. Honestly, Darcy is the most relatable character in this right now. To me, I think. Never, sir. Do you not think it would be a proper compliment to the place? It is a compliment which I never pay to any place if I can avoid it. You have a house in town, I conclude. Mr. Darcy bowed. I had once some thoughts of fixing in town myself, for I am fond of superior society. But I did not feel quite certain that the air of London would agree with Lady Lucas. He paused in hopes of an answer, but his companion was not disposed to make any, and Elizabeth, at that very instant moving toward them, he was struck with the notion of doing a very gallant thing, and called out to her. He's so awkward, but I love him. I just think he's great right now. Like, if you're in a conversation with someone and you don't necessarily want to be in a conversation with someone, this is something that I don't think extroverts really understand that much. Like, I'm sure he's probably thinking maybe of something to say, but he's okay with being in silence. And it doesn't seem like anybody else in this novel is okay with being in silence. So people have conversations with him. This happens to me sometimes too. Like, well, people will have conversations with me and I'll just go silent, and I have no feelings of awkwardness in a silent moment. But some people have huge feelings of awkwardness that I'm not, like, being courteous or whatever it is. And so it's funny because I think he doesn't think that he's being incourteous or like wrong or impolite or anything like that. But to everyone else, I think in this novel, he is. How dare he not get in a conversation with someone that he doesn't want to get into? And then when his crush is walking down walking across the room, hey, Lizzie, you should dance. He's just so awkward. Yeah, I'm kind of the same. I just kind of like sitting and watching others and being in silence. Extroverts take the yeah 100%. Yeah, I just want to be quiet. Don't think I'm rude. I just like being quiet. St. James Place is where the court is. Okay, interesting. You're pretty extroverted, but you have zero problem sitting in silence. Well done. Rare extrovert right there. My dear Miss Eliza, why are you not dancing? Mr. Darcy, you must allow me to present this young lady to you as a very desirable partner. Oh no, so this is Mr. Lucas yelling or talking to Miss Eliza. Okay. So he's just sitting there in silence, just like being in silence. My dear Eliza, why are you not dancing? Mr. Darcy, you must allow me to present this young lady to you as a very desirable partner. You cannot refuse to dance. This is another thing. Sorry, I'm pausing a lot when I'm reading right now. This is another thing that I can't stand and I hate. Like, everyone playing matchmaker. Like, that would drive me crazy. Like, I'm glad that, okay, so they're finally getting introduced here. It's going to be awkward, I'm sure. But I just want to meet people on my own. Like, if I'm interested in someone, it might take me time, but I'll go up to that person. Like, I want to get in good conversation with people and, like, you know, chill and chat. But the whole idea that everyone is just trying to play matchmaker, like, oh, you got to meet this person. Here, come here. It's like, it's an introvert's nightmare. This book is really just about introverts versus extroverts and how no one stands introverts. It's not socially acceptable. Yeah, whatever. You cannot refuse to dance, I am sure, when so much beauty is before you. And taking her hand, he would have given it to Mr. Darcy, who, though extremely surprised, was not unwilling to receive it, when she instantly drew it back and said with some discomposure to Sir William, "Indeed, sir, I have not the least intention of dancing. I entreat you not to suppose that I move this way in order to beg for a partner." Yikes! She's flying hard to get. Mr. Darcy. You know, another quick thing. Are they going to end up falling in love because both of them are just playing hard to get and they just like the challenge of trying to woo someone? You know what I mean? Like, are they really good for each other? For people who have read the novels, are they really good for each other? Or is it just kind of like fun for Darcy that's like she doesn't like him and so he's going after her and she thinks that he's a jerk and her opinions are going to get changed? Is there a little bit of like the challenge of the dating life in this? Yeah, I guess we'll see. They're genuinely a good match? Okay. All right. Read on and decide for myself. But hold on, here's my question. Yeah, he was rude to her. I will say that. He was rude to her. Yeah, he was. But at the same time, you can be rude a little bit. Just you're having an off day. It's okay. Mr. Darcy, with grave propensity, requested to be allowed the honor of her hand, but in vain. Elizabeth was determined, nor did Sir William at all shake her purpose by his attempt at persuasion. "You excel so much in the dance, Miss Eliza, that it is cruel to deny me the happiness of seeing you. And though this gentleman dislikes the amusement in general, he can have no objection, I am sure, to oblige us for 1/2 hour." "Mr. Darcy is all politeness," said Elizabeth, smiling. "He is indeed, but considering the inducement, my dear Eliza, we cannot wonder at his complaisance, for who would object to such a partner?" Elizabeth looked archly and turned away. Her resistance had not injured her with the gentleman, and he was thinking of her with some complacency when thus accosted by Miss Bingley. It's a note with complacency. The primary meaning here is a state of being pleased with a thing or a person, but the additional suggestion of the self-satisfaction perhaps hovers in the background. Interesting, okay. Her resistance had not injured her with the gentleman, and he was thinking of her with some complacency when thus accosted by Miss Bingley. "I can guess the subject of your reverie." I should imagine not. "You are considering how insupportable it would be to pass many evenings in this manner." Someone who understands him, finally. How old is Miss Bingley? Because they'd probably be pretty good together. I'm being too soft on him. I don't know. I just see myself a lot in Mr. Darcy, and I think that it's okay to be an introvert and be a grump sometimes, not all the times. I think he's still just mean in a general way sometimes, and he's a bit nasty, but I'm being too soft on Miss Bingley. I love this. I love how you guys just know the whole rest of the story and you guys are just enjoying me just form terrible opinions now at the beginning of this book. It would be horrible to spend a lot of time with Lizzie and these other country people. Does she mean that? Oh, yeah, I guess she does mean that. You are considering how insupportable it would be to pass many evenings in this manner, in such society. And indeed, I am quite of your opinion. I was never more annoyed. The insipidity and yet the noise, the nothingness and yet the self-importance of all these people. What would I give to hear your strictures on them? She's a little annoying, for sure. She's mean. She's definitely a mean girl. It's interesting. I feel like she's almost like a foil for Darcy in some way in the novel right now. Like, she is definitely more mean than he is. But I think at this point in the novel, you're almost thinking that Darcy is on this side of her, where like Darcy is like just like her, but in a male form. And both of them are just grumps and they would be great grumps together. But I think maybe it's going to level out and you're going to realize that she's like a more of a foil for him than anything else. Now the train's going by. What the heck is going on? This is crazy. I was never more annoyed. The insipidity and yet the noise, the nothingness and yet the self-importance of all these people. Like, this is the person that sometimes I can't stand because she's almost like too self-aware. And like you think you're above that kind of stuff. Yeah. Oh, never mind. Your conjecture is totally wrong, I assure you. My mind was more agreeably engaged. Wow, okay. Misread that. I have been meditating on the very great pleasure with a pair of fine eyes in the face of a pretty woman can bestow. I have been meditating on the very great pleasure which a pair of fine eyes in the face of a pretty woman can bestow. Miss Bingley immediately fixed her eyes on his face, and desired he would tell her what the lady had credit of inspiring such reflections. Mr. Darcy replied with great intrepidity. Intrepidity. Intrepidity? Okay, definition. Define that. Intrepidity. Like lust? Like vigor? Strength? Yeah. Bravely, okay. Perseverance? Bold-ush or boldish? Miss Elizabeth Bennet. Miss Elizabeth Bennet, repeated Miss Bingley. I am all astonishment. How long has she been such a favorite? And pray, when am I to wish you joy? That is the exact question which I expected you to ask. A lady's imagination is very rapid. It jumps from admiration to love, from love to matrimony in a moment. I knew you would be wishing me joy. Nay, if you are so serious about it, I shall consider the matter as absolutely settled. You will have a charming mother-in-law indeed, and of course she will always be at Pemberley with you. Oh, so she's just nasty. He listened to her with perfect indifference, while she chose to entertain herself in this manner. And as his composure convinced her that all was safe, her wit flowed long. That's an interesting line. As his composure convinced her that all was safe, her wit flowed long. So she's just mean. Miss Bingley thought he was thinking about her. Bummer. So she's just like, oh, so is she just going to be scorned? Is she going to cause a lot of problems? I take your silence as agreement. Yeah, I feel like she's kind of saying that. Interesting. I like how they're setting these Miss Bingley up with it's crazy that Miss Bingley is like that when her brother is such opposite. I guess like siblings can be totally opposite like this, but this is stark. This is huge. This is a massive difference. That's a nasty sentence. I shall consider the matter as absolutely settled. You will have a charming mother-in-law, indeed. And of course she will always be at Pemberley with you. Meanie. I'm just writing meanie in my book. All right, let's go to chapter 7. I'm enjoying this, but this is like layered. I need more simplicity sometimes. Like this is too complicated. Alrighty, chapter 7. Mr. Bennet's property consisted almost entirely in an estate of $2,000 a year, which unfortunately for his daughters was entailed in the default of heirs male. So they're gonna have to forfeit the house. Entitled in the default of heirs. An entitle is the settlement of succession of a land estate so that it cannot be bequeathed at pleasure by any one's possessor. In this case, the estate may not pass to a female member of the Bennet family. Dang, that sounds kind of crazy. Maybe that's why the mom is so nervous. Because she knows this and she needs to get her daughters married off. That's kind of sad. I have maybe a little bit more sympathy for Mrs. Bennet now. I still think she's a little annoying, but I kind of have a little bit more sympathy for her. Oh, okay, interesting. So I nailed that part. Hey, everyone, we got something right. One of my takes is right. All right. Hey. Mr. Bennet's property consisted almost entirely in an estate of $2,000 a year, which unfortunately for his daughters was entailed in the default of heir males on a distant relation, and their mother's fortune, though ample for her situation in life. Fortune doesn't mean like inheritance, loss, and a song of ice and fire. Inheritance or fortune doesn't mean, fortune just means like the lump sum that you accrued when someone died, correct? Does that mean like she has like more? A decent dowry. Interesting. Okay. Wow. Now there's a motorcycle going on outside my house. This is crazy. It's just Grand Theft Auto. And their mother's fortune, though ample for her situation in life, could but ill supply the deficiency of his. Her father had been an attorney in Meryton and had left her £4,000. Oh, interesting. So that's not that much. I've never seen Downton Abbey. You don't have to have an entail, but it's a way to protect the property from being split. Interesting. Okay. Oh, so that's the money that she brought into her marriage. Okay. Yeah, that makes more sense. She had a sister married to a Mr. Phillips, who had been a clerk to their father and succeeded him in the business, and a brother settled in London in a respectable line of trade. Hold on one second. I got to write a note here. Sympathy for Miss Bennet. The village of Longbourn was only 1 mile from Meryton, a most convenient distance for the young ladies, who were usually tempted thither 3 or 4 times a week to pay their duty to their aunt to a milliner's shop just over the way. The two youngest of the family, Catherine and Lydia, were particularly frequent in these attentions. Their minds were more vacant than their sisters, and when nothing better offered, a walk to Meryton was necessary to amuse their morning hours and furnish conversation for the evening. And however bare of news the country in general might be, they always contrived to learn some from their aunt. At present, indeed, they were well supplied both with news and happiness by the recent arrival of a militia regiment in the neighborhood, and it was to remain the whole winter. And Meryton was the headquarters. Got a bunch of cute military guys. There's another endnote. Military, the term designated auxiliary force raised by a country and made up of volunteers. Oh, interesting. Volunteers. As distinct from the regular army. Huh. Interesting. Okay. That's interesting. So it's like, okay, a volunteer army. FFFFF player, what's up? Okay, go to sleep. Listen to it later. Yeah, I'll definitely get to the point where I'm reading enough Austen that I'll understand all this, but we're not quite there. I'm still understanding the Regency era. So we'll get to a better understanding of all this as time goes on. Their visits to Mrs. Phillips were now productive of the most interesting intelligence. Every day added something new to their knowledge of the officers' names and connections. Their lodgings were not long a secret, and at length they began to know the officers themselves. Mr. Phillips visited them all, and this opened to his nieces a source of felicity unknown before. They could talk of nothing but officers, and Mr. Bingley's large fortune, the mention of which gave animation to their mother, was worthless in their eyes when opposed to the regimentals of an ensign. There's another endnote. Lots of endnotes here. We're actually almost done with the endnotes. There's not that many. There's 30, and we're on number 10. We're only 20 pages in. The regimentals of an ensign military uniform. The ensign was a commissioned officer of the lowest rank in the infantry, an equivalent of a sub-lieutenant in today's army. Huh, okay. An ensignee. Younger sons. Soldiers, those dashing fellows. Young men from families with money. Interesting. Let me read that again. They could talk of nothing but officers, and Mr. Bingley's large fortune, the mention of which gave animation to their mother, was worthless in their eyes when opposed to the regimentals of an ensign. After listening one morning to their effusions on this subject, Mr. Bennet coolly observed, "From all that I can collect by your manner of talking, you two must be two of the silliest girls in the country. I have suspected it some time, but I am now convinced." Catherine was disconcerted and made no answer, but Lydia, with perfect indifference, continued to express her admiration of Captain Carter, and her hope of seeing him in the course of the day, as he was going the next morning to London. "I am astonished, my dear," said Mrs. Bennet, that you should be so ready to think of your own children silly. That you should be so ready to think your own children silly. Okay, gotcha. I just misread that. "I'm astonished, my dear, that you should be so ready to think your own children silly. If I wish to think slightingly of anybody's children, it should not be one of my own, however." Now, that's interesting. This could be another interesting thing to talk about, in that their opinions of their daughters are detrimental to or not detrimental to each other. They're just very contrary to each other. And like Mr. Bennet seems like he wants to critique his daughters to like help them like okay, so someone was talking about this in one of the comments of the videos. Like he essentially married down, and their understandings of what marriage are totally different. He wants them to marry more noble people than probably the people that are in the town now. She just wants them to get married, and so they can have some stability in their life. I think it's like two totally different things. And like he wants his daughters to like he's like, you guys are silly right now acting as you are. And she's like, why are you calling them silly? They're out there going to do what they need to do. And she's not going to talk badly about anybody in her family because she just wants to get them all married off. If my children are silly, I must hope to be always sensible of it. There you go. There's another endnote. A lot of endnotes. Aware of. I don't know why they gave me a endnote for that one. Yes, but as it happens, they are all of them very clever. That is the only point, I flatter myself, on which we do not agree. I had hoped that our sentiments coincided in every particular, but I must so far differ from you as to think our two youngest daughters uncommonly foolish. My dear Mr. Bennet, you must not expect such girls to have the sense of their father and mother. When they get to our age, I dare say that they will not think about officers any more than we do. I remember the time when I liked a red coat myself very well. And indeed, so I do still at my heart. Whoa! Hold on, time out. Is she saying what I think she's saying? Yeah, Nemo, I'm kind of with you there. Which I kind of admire, but at the same time, I don't. I don't think we needed most of the notes, to be honest. But she's saying she has crushes, but she also said, and indeed, so I do still at my heart. It's almost like she fell in love with someone and she still is carrying that with her. And if I, a smart young colonel, with 5,000 or 6,000 a year, should want one of my girls, I shall not say nay to him. And I thought Colonel Forster looked very becoming the other night at Sir William's in his regimentals. She's saying the soldiers are cute and she still had eyes. Oh, she still thinks the redcoats. Oh, okay. Is she saying that though? I feel like she's saying something else. Because she's saying, okay, when they get to our age, I dare say that they will not think about officers any more than we do. She's like, I don't think of officers anymore. I remember the time when I liked a red coat myself very well. And indeed, so I do still at my heart. I don't know. It's just like an interesting sentence. So I understand now. Rereading that, I'm like, it could be that she's talking about like, oh, I still think the redcoats are hot. I liked a red coat myself very well. Okay, so I get it. She's just vain in that she likes the look of the redcoats. Okay, so that makes more sense. But still, I think that my misreading of that still kind of holds a little bit of weight. Where she's like, I liked a red coat myself very well. Like she likes one, and she's like still is clinging on to that, even though she's married. She's like still has that first love in her heart. She's just saying, when I see a red coat, man, gets me going. Mama, cried Lydia. My aunt says that Colonel Forster and Captain Carter do not go so often to Miss Watson's as they did when they first came. She sees them now very often standing in Clark's library. Mrs. Bennet was prevented replying by the entrance of the footman with a note for Miss Bennet. It came from Netherfield, and the servant waited for an answer. Miss Bennet's eyes sparkled with pleasure. She was eagerly calling out while her daughters read. Well, Jane, who is it from? What is it about? What does he say? Well, Jane, make haste to tell us. Make haste, my love. It is from Miss Bingley, said Jane, and then read it aloud. My dear friend, if you are not so compassionate as to dine today with Louisa and me, we shall be in danger of hating each other for the rest of our lives. For a whole day's tete-a-tete between two women can never end without a quarrel. Come as soon as you can on receipt of this. My brother and the gentlemen are to dine with the officers. Yours ever, Caroline Bingley. With the officers, cried Lydia. I wonder my aunt did not tell us of that. Huh. So the ladies just want to have a little meal with her. I know what a redcoat is, but I don't know. I just thought that she had liked one redcoat, not multiple redcoats. Because she's saying I liked a redcoat myself very well. She's like, yeah, okay. I get it now. Okay. Dining out, said Mrs. Bennet. That is very unlucky. Can I have the carriage? said Jane. Can I have the car, Mom? No, my dear. You better go on horseback because it seems likely to rain. And then you must stay all night. Oh my gosh. What a crafty little mom. That would be a good scheme, said Elizabeth, if you were sure that they would not offer to send her home. Which they probably would. It's like saying I like a tight butt, but it doesn't mean you like one particular tight butt. It's great. It's a great way to put it, to be honest. Yeah, her master plan is actually kind of great. It's a smart idea. She's craftier than I think I'm giving her credit for. But at the same point, I feel like Lizzie knows them better. So Lizzie's like, no, Mom, they're mean and they would send her home into the rain. You know what I mean? But, oh gosh, and here comes a fire station. 6 o'clock, everyone. give me a second before this thing wears off. It's so annoying. It only goes for a little bit. I think it just does 2. Yeah, they could also offer to send her home in their carriage. It's probably more courteous. They probably would do that, but still. All right. I think we're good. Every night at 6, it's ridiculous. They do it because they're trying to sync their radios with each other. But it's an ancient thing. At 6 or 7. Yeah, Lizzie knows they're not stupid. Okay. I had much rather go in the coach. Jane just wants a nice car. But my dear, your father cannot spare the horses, I am sure. They are wanted in the farm, Mr. Bennet, are they not? They are wanted in the farm much oftener than I can get them. But if you have gotten them today, said Elizabeth, my mother's purpose will be answered. She did at last extort from her father an acknowledgment that the horses were engaged. Jane was therefore obliged to go on horseback, and her mother attended her to the door with many cheerful prognostics of a bad day. Her hopes were answered. Jane had not been gone long before it rained hard. Oh gosh. Her sisters were uneasy for her, but her mother was delighted. The rain continued the whole evening without intermission. Jane certainly could not come back. This was a lucky idea of mine, indeed, said Mrs. Bennet. more than once as if the credit of making it rain were all her own. Till the next morning, however, she was not aware of the felicity of her contrivance. Breakfast was scarcely over when a servant from Netherfield brought the following note for Elizabeth. Huh. My dearest Lizzie, I find myself unwell this morning. No! Which I suppose is to be imputed to my getting wet through yesterday. My kind friends will not hear of my returning home till I am better. They insist also on seeing Mr. Jones, on my seeing Mr. Jones. Therefore, do not be alarmed if you should hear of his having been to me. And excepting a sore throat and headache, there is not much the matters with me. Yours, N.C. What's the ending there? It's yours with an ampersand C period. Etc. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, being sick at someone else's house would be miserable. I would hate that so much. Yeah, Elizabeth is kind of on board with the plan right there. But it was kind of a dumb one because she gets stuck in the rain and now she's sick. So that was kind of dumb. I'm sure that Mrs. Bennet is going to be thrilled about this because she gets to spend extra time in that house. Well, my dear, said Mr. Bennet, when Elizabeth had read the note aloud, if your daughter should have a dangerous fit of illness, if she should die, it would be a comfort to know that it was all in pursuit of Mr. Bingley and under your orders. Oh, I am not afraid of her dying. People do not die of little trifling cold. She will be taken good care of. As long as she stays there, it is all very well. I would go sooner and see her if I could have the carriage. Elizabeth, feeling really anxious, was determined to go to her, though the carriage was not to be had, and she was no horsewoman. Walking was her only alternative. She declared her resolution. How can you be so silly, cried her mother, as to think of such a thing in all this dirt? You will not be fit to be seen when you get there. I shall be very fit to see Jane, which is all I want. Is this a hint to me, Lizzie? Said her father. To send for the horses? No, indeed, I do not wish to avoid the walk. The distance is nothing when one has a motive. Only 3 miles. I shall be back by dinner. That's not that long. Come on. Ooh, I forgot to make mods on this channel. I gotta make some people as mods. Who's the first mod gonna be? I admire the activity of your benevolence, observed Mary. But every time Mary has a line, come on, Mary. But every impulse of feeling should be guided by reason. And in my opinion, exertion should always be in proportion to what is required. We will go as far as Meryton with you, said Catherine and Lydia. Oh, they just want to go to the city. Or the town. Elizabeth accepted their company. And the 3 youngest ladies set off together. And the 3 young ladies, sorry, not the youngest. I was going to get confused there for a second. 3 miles in the mud is a ways. Yeah, I guess that's a little. I guess that's a little walk. It's not gonna be like that muddy. Come on. If we make haste, said Lydia, as they walked along, perhaps we may see something of Captain Carter before he goes. In Meryton they parted. The 2 youngest repaired to the lodgings of one of the officers' wives, and Elizabeth continued her walk alone, crossing field after field at a quick pace, jumping over stiles and springing over puddles with impatient activity. and finding herself at last within view of the house, with weary ankles, dirty stockings, and a face glowing with the warmth of exercise. She was shown into the breakfast parlor, where all but Jane were assembled, and where her appearance created a great deal of surprise. That she should have walked 3 miles so early in the day in such dirty weather, and by herself, was almost incredible to Mrs. Hurst and Miss Bingley, and Elizabeth was convinced that they held her in contempt for it. She was received, however, very politely by them, and in their brother's manners there was something better than politeness. There was good humor and kindness. Oh, nice. Mr. Darcy's there. Mr. Darcy said very little, and Mr. Hurst nothing at all. The former was divided between admiration of the brilliancy which exercise had given to her complexion and doubt as to the occasions justifying her coming so far alone. The latter was unthinkable only of his breakfast. The latter was thinking only of his breakfast. That's a great sentence. I like that. Mr. Hurst just like chowing down, enjoying his breakfast. You know, this is a really great sentence too. Again, this is coming from a guy's mind, and like knowing what I know, I don't know much, but Jane Austen being a feminist writer, this is a very good feminist sentence for a guy's perspective, because he likes these different things about her. He loves the idea that she's like, dang, she looks good in workout, clothes. She looks good with like a little bit of sweat on her. Like that's cute. But also he's mad because he's like, I wish I was coming with her. He's like, I want to be chivalrous and help her out. This is like the conundrum of like opening a door for like a lady. You're like, she can do it herself, but I want to be kind and courteous and do it for her. I feel like he's going back and forth between her mind a little bit. I probably would care about breakfast more at this point too. I'm not the biggest breakfast eater though. But I kind of like how this sentence is written. Like it's a very astute sentence. Relatable. Let's keep reading. Her enquiries after her sister were not very favorably answered. Miss Bennet had slept ill, and though up, was very feverish and not well enough to leave her room. Elizabeth was glad to be taken to her immediately, and Jane, who had been withheld by the fear of giving alarm or inconvenience from expressing in her note how much she longed for such a visit, was delighted at her entrance. She was not equal, however, to much conversation, and when Miss Bingley left them together, could attempt little beside expressions of gratitude for the extraordinary kindness she was treated with. Elizabeth silently attended her. When breakfast was over, they were joined by the sisters, and Elizabeth began to feel like them herself, and Elizabeth began to like them herself. When she saw how much affection and solicitude they showed for Jane, the apothecary came. Hold on, I gotta sneeze. 1 second, it's coming. Excuse me. Oh, might be coming again. A third one? Nope. Lost my place. Where am I? The apothecary came, and having examined his patient, said, as might be supposed, that she had caught a violent cold, and they might endeavor to get the better of it, advised her to return to bed, and promised her some draughts. The advice was followed readily, for the feverish symptoms increased, and her head ached acutely. Elizabeth did not quit her room for a moment, nor were the other ladies often absent. The gentlemen being out, they had in fact nothing to do elsewhere. When the clock struck 3, Elizabeth felt that she must go, and very unwillingly said so. Miss Bingley offered her the carriage, and she only wanted a little pressing to accept it. When Jane testified such concern in parting with her, that Miss Bingley was obliged to convert the offer of the chaise into an invitation to remain at Netherfield for the present, Elizabeth most thankfully consented, and a servant was dispatched to Longbourn to acquaint the family with her stay, and bring back a supply of clothes. Oh, that's kind of cute. A little sleepover. You lose your voice every time you have a fever? Dang, that doesn't sound great. Interesting. Okay, so we've finished 3 more chapters. I'm tempted to... we'll do 1 more. I like a little 4-chapter period. Yeah, the next one's not that long. But 9 is a little long. So we'll stop right before 9. We were gonna do 9 and 10, but we've been going too long anyway. We gotta pace ourselves through this book. And I got lots of videos that are coming out about this. Short videos, really quick ones, but lots of them. Chapter 8. At 5 o'clock, the 2 ladies retired to dress, and at 6:30, Elizabeth was summoned to dinner. To the civil inquiries which then poured in, and amongst which she had the pleasure of distinguishing the much superior solicitude of Mr. Bingley's, she could not make a very favorable answer. Jane was by no means better. The sisters, on hearing this, repeated 3 or 4 times how much they were grieved, how shocking it was to have a bad cold, and how excessively they disliked being ill themselves, and then thought no more of the matter, and their indifference toward Jane, when not immediately before them, restored Elizabeth to the enjoyment of all her original dislike. They're mean girls. I don't like them. Their brother, indeed, was the only one of the party whom she could regard with any complacency. His anxiety for Jane was evident, and his attentions to herself most pleasing, and they prevented her feeling herself so much an intruder as she believed she was considered by the others. She had very little notice from any but him. Miss Bingley was engrossed by Mr. Darcy, her sisters scarcely less so. And as for Mr. Hurst, by whom Elizabeth sat, he was an indolent man, who lived only to eat, drink, and play at cards, who, when he found her prefer a plain dish to a ragout, had nothing to say to her. When dinner was over, she returned directly to Jane, and Miss Bingley began abusing her as soon as she was out of the room. Her manners were pronounced to be very bad indeed, a mixture of pride and impertinence. She had no conversation, no style, no taste, no beauty. Miss Hurst thought the same, and added, she has nothing in short to recommend her, but being an excellent walker. I shall never forget her appearance this morning. She really looked almost wild. Gosh, they are mean. Oh, that's ragu. Okay, interesting. Thank you. John is enjoying being restored to his initial dislike of Bingley's sisters. That's very true. I've never seen ragu spelled like that. There you go. Yeah, they're mean. They're not nice. They are. I think they're doing it because they're. I'm guessing they're trying to set up Miss Bingley with Mr. Darcy. But this isn't the way to do it. It's French. I don't know any French words, guys. My French needs a lot of work. She did indeed, Louisa. I could hardly keep my countenance. Very nonsensical to come at all. Why must she be scampering about the country because her sister had a cold? Her hair so untidy, so blousy. Yes, and her petticoat. I hope you saw her petticoat, 6 inches deep in mud. I am absolutely certain. And the gown which had been let down to hide it, not doing its office. Your picture may be very exact, Louisa, said Bingley, but this was all lost upon me. I thought Miss Elizabeth Bennet looked remarkably well when she came into the room this morning. Her dirty petticoat quite escaped my notice. You observed it, Mr. Darcy, I am sure, said Miss Bingley. And I am inclined to think that you would not wish to see your sister make such an exhibition. Certainly not. To walk 3 miles or 4 or 5 miles or whatever it is above her ankles in dirt, and alone, quite alone. What could she mean by it? It seems to me to show an abominable sort of conceited independence, a most country town indifference to decorum. It shows an affection for her sister that is very pleasing, said Bingley. I love that. I am afraid, Mr. Darcy, observed Miss Bingley in half a whisper, that this adventure has rather affected your admiration of her fine eyes. Not at all, he replied. They were brightened by the exercise. A short pause followed this speech, and Mr. Hurst began again. I have excessive regard for Jane Bennet. She is really a very sweet girl, and I wish all my heart that she were well settled. But with such a father and a mother and such low connections, I am afraid there is no chance of it. I think I have heard you say that their uncle is an attorney in Meryton. Yes, and they have another, who lives somewhere near Cheapside. That is capital, added her sister, and they both laughed heartily. If they had uncles enough to fill all Cheapside, cried Bingley, it would not make them one jot less agreeable. I like Bingley. Bingley is great. Yes, it's the guy who lives with her in-laws. You're like, shut up over there, dude. Hurst, will you just relax? I do think the Bingley's sisters are trying to discourage their brother from getting ideas about marrying Jane Bennet. Yeah, for sure. But they're just mean girls. But it must very materially lessen their chance of marrying men of any consideration in the world, replied Darcy. To this speech, Bingley made no answer, but his sisters gave it their hearty assent, and indulged their mirth for some time at the expense of their dear friend's vulgar relations. That's an interesting response that Darcy has. But it must very materially lessen their chance of marrying men of any consideration in the world. With a renewal of tenderness, however, they repaired to her room on leaving the dinner parlor, and sat with her till summoned to coffee. She was still very poorly, and Elizabeth would not quit her at all, till late in the evening, when she had the comfort of seeing her asleep, and when it appeared to her rather right than pleasant that she could go downstairs herself. On entering the drawing room, she found the whole party at loo. At the bathroom? There's a note. A round card game played by varying numbers of players. And was immediately invited to join them. But suspecting them to be playing high, she declined it. Playing high as in betting, or playing high as in they're drugged? And making her sister the excuse, said she would amuse herself for a short time. They're betting, okay. Would amuse herself for a short time. She could stay below with a book. Mr. Hurst looked at her with astonishment. Do you prefer reading to cards? Said he. That is rather singular. What a loser. What a loser this guy is. I hate him. He's my least favorite guy in this whole book. He just has dumb stuff to say. Everything that comes out of his mouth is stupid. He's an idiot. That's the telltale sign that you know that the dude is stupid. Do you prefer reading to cards? Said he. That is rather singular. Yeah. What a loser. Miss Eliza Bennet, said Miss Bingley. Interesting. Is that the first time that she's calling her Eliza? I feel like there's something in there. Have they been in the same company as Charlotte? Only Charlotte calls her Eliza. She hasn't earned the right to call Lizzie Eliza. Miss Eliza Bennet, said Miss Bingley, despises cards. She's a great reader and has no pleasure in anything else. I deserve neither such praise nor censure, cried Elizabeth. I am not a great reader. I have pleasure in many things. In nursing your sister, I am sure you have pleasure, said Bingley, and I hope it will soon be increased by seeing her quite well. Elizabeth thanked him from her heart, and then walked towards a table where a few books were lying. He immediately offered to fetch her others, all that his library afforded. Bingley is such a sweet guy. I know Eliza's probably like a common thing, and I'm sure everyone does, but at the moment, I don't know a ton of people other than Charlotte that call her Eliza. I'm sure more people in the book, but her dad calls her Lizzie, which is like a bit more personal, I think. And like if you just meet someone, usually like she hasn't introduced herself as Eliza. Usually you would call someone by their proper full name. So I think she's just feigning familiarity here when she's not really that like friendly with her, I think. And I wish my collection were larger for your benefit and mine own credit, but I am an idle fellow. And though I have not many, I have more than ever. And though I have not many, I have more than I ever looked into. Elizabeth assured him that she could suit herself perfectly with those in the room. I am astonished, said Miss Bingley, that my father should have left so small a collection of books. What a delightful library you have at Pemberley, Mr. Darcy. It ought to be good, he replied. It has been the work of many generations. I guess this is the old money versus the new money thing. This is how you know one has a lot of money built up and one has just one generation of money. Yeah, Levine, I'm 100% there with you. Presumes kind of like an intimacy that's not really there. And yeah, Lizzie is like, don't call me that, but she can't say that to this woman of high society. And then you have added so much to it yourself. You are always buying books. Two little book nerds. They just need... Oh, come on. Why can't they be sick at Darcy's place? I cannot comprehend the neglect of a family library in such days as these. Neglect? I am sure you neglect nothing that can add to the beauties of that noble place. Charles, when you build your house, I wish it may be half as delightful as Pemberley. Is Charles Mr. Hurst? I'm guessing that's the only people that are in the room. I wish it may. But I would really advise you to make your purchase in the neighborhood and take Pemberley for a kind of model. There is not a finer county in England than Derbyshire. With all my heart, I will buy Pemberley itself if Darcy will sell it. I am talking of possibilities, Charles. Oh, Charles Bingley. Oh, interesting. Okay, Charles is Bingley. Duh. Upon my word, Caroline, I should think it more possible to get Pemberley by purchase than by imitation. Elizabeth was so much caught by what passed as to leave her very little attention for books. And soon, laying it aside wholly, she drew near the card table and stationed herself between Mr. Bingley and his eldest sister to observe the game. Has Miss Darcy much grown since the spring? Said Miss Bingley. Will she be as tall as I am? I think she will. She is now about Miss Elizabeth Bennet's height, or rather taller. How I long to see her again. I never met anybody who delighted me so much. Such a countenance, such manners, and so extremely accomplished for her age. Her performance on the pianoforte is exquisite. Cute! Okay, hold on. Fun fact. Derbyshire is Derbyshire? Interesting. Derbyshire? Derbyshire. Elizabeth and Margaret are two of the contenders for the most nicknames. Okay. I love how he talks. Is this his younger sister? I love how he talks about her. That's really cute. It is amazing. It is amazing to me, said Bingley, how young ladies can have patience to be so very accomplished as they all are. All young ladies accomplished, my dear Charles. What do you mean? Yes, all of them, I think. They all paint tables, cover screens, and net purses. I scarcely know anyone who cannot do all this. And I am sure I never heard a young lady spoken of for the first time without being informed that she was very accomplished. Your list of the common extent of accomplishments, said Darcy, has too much truth. The word is applied to many a woman who deserves it, no otherwise than by netting a purse or covering a screen, but I am very far from agreeing with you in your estimation of ladies in general. I cannot boast of knowing more than half a dozen in a whole range of my acquaintance that are really accomplished. Nor I am sure, said Miss Bingley. She just likes agreeing with him because she's like just annoying. And it's funny too because I like everything that Darcy says, I'm like on board with, but he just doesn't have social cues. I think I have maybe more social cues than Darcy, because like really what he's saying is like he's gonna lead to the probably saying that like, oh, Lizzie has a lot that's like, you know, that I'm really interested in. She has a lot of accomplishments, but he's just trashing women now, which just doesn't. It's not a great look. Then, observed Elizabeth, you must comprehend a great deal in your idea of an accomplished woman. Yes, I do comprehend a great deal in it. Like, they're just circling each other right now. Yeah, that's a really interesting point. It's not that he doesn't understand social cues; he doesn't care about them. That's a cool distinction. Yeah, I kind of agree. Oh, certainly, cried his faithful assistant. No one can be really esteemed accomplished who does not greatly surpass what is usually met with. A woman must have a thorough knowledge of music, singing, drawing, dancing, and the modern languages to deserve the word. And besides all this, she must possess a certain something in her air and manner of walking, the tone of her voice, her address, or her address and expressions, or the word will be but half deserved. That is Miss Bingley talking right there, right? Because it says, cried his faithful assistant, and this is from Lizzie's perspective. So like the faithful assistant to Darcy right now is Miss Bingley. That's what I'm guessing. It's like a good writing implement there, but just a little uncertain. The movie does this seem good? Yeah, I'm interested in seeing all this. It's translated in Bride and Prejudice. This is a good one. All of this she must possess, added Darcy, and to all this she must yet add something more substantial, in the improvement of her mind by extensive reading. I am no longer surprised at your knowing only 6 accomplished women. I rather wonder now at your knowing any. Are you so severe upon your own sex as to doubt the possibility of this at all? I never saw such a woman. I never saw such capacity and taste and application and elegance as you describe, united. Mrs. Hurst and Miss Bingley both cried out against the injustice of her implied doubt, and were both protesting that they knew many women who answered this description when Mr. Hurst called them to order, with bitter complaints of their inattention to what was going forward. As all conversation was thereby at an end, Elizabeth soon afterward left the room. Dang, it's a little tense. I love how Darcy is literally trying to throw in, like, this is part of the reason why I say Darcy doesn't have maybe the social cues is because it doesn't seem like Darcy's understanding the fierce debate that's going on right now. Maybe he does, for sure. He probably does to some extent. But he doesn't know what he's about to say is going to inflame the ladies into a fight. And so by him saying, and to all this, she must yet add something more substantial, the improvement of her mind by extensive reading. And you're going over, and she's for sure, and when he's saying that right now, he's like looking over at Lizzie and going like, the improvement of her mind by substantial reading. He's like giving her the big wink. And then the whole conversation just erupts and it gets like really mad and angry. But I feel like that's why he doesn't necessarily have the social cues. Not that I think it is because he just doesn't care about like social cues sometimes, but I think, yeah, Lan, I'm with you. Darcy's trying to compliment her and she just feels like everyone is making fun of her. For sure. He's not just being sweet to Lizzie. He's also sticking it to Miss Bingley, and yeah, agreed. Yeah, I think he's just like trying to like, yeah, flirt a little bit, but he just doesn't know how to do it. That's interesting. I didn't actually catch that he's rebuking the other sisters there, but that makes more sense. I like that actually. That's kind of great. I actually really like that. It's like multi-pointed there. Guys, I like Darcy. Darcy's great. I'm sorry. I think Darcy's great. All right, let's finish the rest of this chapter. Hold on one second. Let me take a note. Sticking it to Bingley's. It is interesting how these two girls are just so mean, and Charles Bingley is just such a dope and a golden retriever. The fault is on Lizzie in this situation. I kind of agree with you there that she doesn't really recognize it, but she's on, like, has her back against the wall. She feels like people are making fun of her. So she misreads the situation for sure. But also, who wouldn't misread the situation, in this setting? Like, she feels like everyone is against her. And so her back's against the wall and has no one in the room is agreeing with her. And she just like wants to sit and read. And she's like caught in with their gossip. And then all of a sudden, these people are jumping down her throat. I would hate that. And then all of a sudden, someone makes a compliment that she probably sees as sarcasm. Someone gets, like, they're talking about, what is a well-qualified woman. And then all of a sudden Darcy says, all this she must possess, and all this she must yet add something more substantial. The improvement of her mind by extensive reading. And for sure, she thinks that's sarcasm. And so she just lashes out, and this room gets a little testy. Yeah, 'cause she feels like she's been nothing but judged. It's really interesting. It's a great setup for a conversation. Austen really knows how to do conversation well in the books. It's great. I love it. All right, let's finish this chapter. He's never been nice to her. I will say he has not been nice to her one time. And is just been awkward the other times. I need to reread all these chapters before I make a determination about that. But in my mind as a guy, I think he was mean the first interaction with calling her not handsome. And then the rest of that was he had a crush on her and just didn't know how to express it or talk to her about that and was trying to do all sorts of weird stuff. Yeah, the prejudice part of Pride and Prejudice. Agree with you there. Yeah, it's the prejudice. All right, let's finish the chapter. He could have danced with her when Lucas tried to get them to. Yeah, exactly. He was ready for a dance. He was ready to make up for what he missed out on the first time. Eliza Bennet, said Miss Bingley, when the door was closed on her, is one of those young ladies who seek to recommend themselves to the other sex by undervaluing their own. That's funny because that's literally exactly what they're doing. And with many men, I dare say, it succeeds. But in my opinion, it is paltry. It is a paltry device, a very mean art. Gosh, they are the worst. This is what they're doing. All right, let me read the rest of the chapter, then I'll chat. Undoubtedly, replied Darcy, to whom this remark was chiefly addressed. There is meanness in all the arts which ladies sometimes condescend to employ for captivation. Whatever bears affinity to cunning is despicable. Miss Bingley was not so entirely satisfied with this reply as to continue the subject. Elizabeth joined them again, only to say that her sister was worse, and that she could not leave her. Bingley urged Mr. Jones being sent for immediately, while his sisters, convinced that no country advice could be of any service, recommended an express to town for one of the most eminent physicians. This she would not hear of, but she was not so unwilling to comply with her brother's proposal, and it was settled that Mr. Jones should be sent for early in the morning, if Miss Bennet were not decidedly better. Bingley was quite uncomfortable. His sisters declared that they were miserable. They solaced their wretchedness, however, by duets after supper, while he could find no better relief to his feelings than by giving his housekeeper directions that every possible attention might be paid to the sick lady and her sister. Bingley is just great. I really love Bingley. He's a little annoying still, but he is just so kind and so good. Like, he's a dope, but he's just a lovable dope. That is lovely. I've really loved this book so far, guys. This is fun. I really love reading it with you guys too, because you guys are helping me understand this and hone my understanding and my interpretation of this. This is really fun. I really like doing these. We're gonna do the whole book like this. I think we're gonna do like I don't know what I'm gonna do with the reading of this. We'll do like maybe 2 to 3 reads like a week or something like that. And I might publish more than one video a day because I have like a lot of short videos I'm gonna do. So maybe I'll like publish one in the morning, one in the evening or something. They're not really like well formulated. I'll probably have like one essay per few chapters, and most of them are just like me reiterating certain things that I'm talking about in the live reads, just like more like fleshed out as I think about them on like walks and stuff like that. But I really like this book so far. It's really fun. I'm really enjoying it. It's just a fun critique of these rich people. It's great. I like it. You didn't think I was going to find it funny? I think this is hilarious. I think it's one of the funniest books I've read in a long time. I think there's like a line of like snarkiness in the whole thing, where she just, like Jane Austen just, like even the way that she writes things, like one of the sentences that Darcy says made me think like Jane Austen is literally writing these sentences to be so weird and like so high class. I'm sure that she's writing these like giggling to herself, saying like, I cannot believe these people actually think this way. What was the sentence? I gotta find that. This one. Like, it's not the hardest sentence to understand, but it's just a weird sentence. Undoubtedly, replied Darcy, to whom this remark was chiefly addressed, there is meanness in all the arts which ladies sometimes condescend to employ for captivation. Like, I feel like when Jane Austen was writing that, she's like, this is just ridiculous that people talk like this. The meanness in all the arts which ladies sometimes condescend to employ for captivation. Whatever bears affinity to cunning is despicable. It's like, it's great English. It's good. I like it, but it's also a little high and mighty. So I feel like Jane Austen was poking fun at like how they use language too. But it's great so far. She's a really great writer. I'm very impressed. She's like a very, I was going to say like a tight, consolidated writer. I could for sure see how people could read this and not necessarily get the humor of it. I think maybe the first time that I read it, like whatever it was, like 20 years ago, 15 years ago, I think I remember reading it in a very serious way. I think I only thought that books that were written 100 years ago and before that were only serious. That those people never had any sense of humor. So I remember reading like Dickens being like, "Oh, this is only serious," and Dickens is anything but serious. Dickens is like the most joking, crazy author. He just like the character names that he gives people. He's like trying to get you to laugh. Levine, thank you so much. You're against binge reading and binge watching. It really does. Nima, I'm with you. I really have been enjoying reading books slow. It just makes it more fun. I wish they published books more like serials when like Dickens was doing it. It's just so much fun. I love that. I love that you're enjoying the channels. That makes me really happy. I think it's fun. I think it's like a big book club too. That's why this channel I'm probably the most excited about at the moment, because I think this one is going to be like the book club that I'm like hoping to kind of launch and start. I just want to do like one big book club. Like start like feeder book clubs all around. And I just want to keep growing that. So it's just really fun. I really like it. It's really great, guys. I have not read P.G. Wodehouse. One of my friends loved him, and I have not read anything. So I'll definitely pick up some PG and read him. I hear he's hilarious. I always love reading a good, funny author. Yeah, exactly. It's like you go slow through a book, like the original podcast. You just kind of talk about Harry Potter in a really slow manner, and it just makes it fun. I think it's just a better way to like. It's a better book experience. Victor Hugo, read the unabridged version. I tried to read the unabridged version of Les Mis a while ago and just couldn't get through the chapters on chapters of the London sewer system. That was rough. But Austin might not have been above double entendre names. Okay, good. I'm excited for all this. I'm excited for these reads. I'm excited to just keep doing some of these classics. Gosh, wait, what is negative 20 degrees Celsius? I love that you've really loved. I am really trying to get back the magic of that. I'm trying to find other people that I can do it with. Negative 4 degrees Fahrenheit? You're crazy. That's crazy. That's freezing. That is freezing. I feel so honored that you would do that. I'm trying to find other people who have not read Harry Potter, but it's harder right now. There's a few people who haven't, but they just don't have the time to do it right now. So I'm potentially pulling in some more, but it won't be that in the near future. Probably won't be within the next year, but hopefully I'll get some more people that are interested in reading Harry Potter and walking along with me through those books, because I really love that. That was such a fun thing. That's how this all started. Just that little podcast. It's crazy. I know, got a new newts. I know for sure. Nemo, I definitely want to do that too. I think me and Danny might actually end up doing that. I gotta finish it. I feel like I just got to the good part and then I just stopped reading, which is right after the second book when what's her name comes back in the tree. That was crazy. That was a crazy ending to that book. I still think about that. That was such a good ending. Yeah, Danny is he's a really good reader. He's a really good reader. I really love having him as a reader. He's just like fun. And I would love to get Lizzie to do some of this stuff with me. like just working on the classics channel and just chatting and talking about books. Maybe I'll get her to read Pride and Prejudice. Yeah, he's so thorough. Thorough is a good word for him. And he is very enthusiastic. I feel like I'm a bit more like maybe passionate about this stuff. He's a bit more thorough about this stuff than I am. Ja, we'll see you later. I'm probably going to jump off in a second too. I'm going to get some work done and then go hang out with little West puppy over there. My sister-in-law right now is texting me about a cat. They're saying that I should get this cat. Looks like a really cute cat. It's a really cute cat. Here, look at this. I'll show you guys a picture and then we'll end the stream. They want me to get this little cat. It's so cute. If I got this one, what would I name it? Look at the long legs. That's a good name for a cat. Frodo. Honestly, I probably could call it Frodo. Minerva. Ooh, Minerva would be a good one. Or like Nerva or something like that. What's like I need something good. It'll come to me. Neville Longarms. Like long bottom, but long arms. I actually kind of love that. Neville as a cat name would be great. Neville. Wow. Stretch is a good name. What's the... I could call her Shelob because it's Sauron's cat, right? Imagine calling your cat Shelob. That's crazy. That's so funny. Really be kind of fun to have a cat. But we'll see. We'll see. Professor McGonagall. I could call her... honestly, a cat named Professor would be kind of cute. Little Professor cat. Yeah, we'll not be naming her Mrs. Norris. That's ridiculous. Filch is so good in the audiobooks, guys. I love Filch's character in the audiobooks. He does so well. Mr. Hurst? No chance. I'm not going to call her Mr. Hurst. She's going to be obsessed with eating and just saying stupid things then. I got to name her... I got to figure out if it's a boy or a girl cat. Denethor, never. I will never, ever consider that my whole life. So I can eat tomatoes. Oh, Nemo, it's good. You got to listen. Some of the voice acting in the second book is a little less good than I thought it was going to be. I still love Kit Harington. I think he's great. But in our Discord, people don't like him at all. I think he's great, though. I love him. But Angelina Johnson's character shocks me. It's crazy. But anyway. All right, guys. I'm going to jump off. I'm going to go get some work done. I'll see you guys soon. Probably Lord of the Rings live read on Sunday. That probably will be the next live read. Potential of doing some Father Christmas letters on Saturday, but I don't know. I got to figure that out. But probably nothing tomorrow. No lives tomorrow. That's all I got. I'll see you guys on the flippity flip. Do you think Filch read Austen and named his cat thusly? Is there a Filch? Hot cross buns potentially, but I might have to do that on Saturday. Probably on Saturday if I don't get to do it tomorrow. Probably won't be able to do it tomorrow. Tomorrow's a busy day for me, unfortunately. But that's the deal. All right, guys. Later. Bye. Hold on, wait. Everyone, watch this.
I'm 27 years old.
I just love this.
I've no money and no prospects. I'm already a burden to my parents.
I'm frightened.
And I'm frightened.
Later, guys.